welcome back to Arcadia FYI. I'm Christine Zito, your wonderful host, which I hope you think I'm wonderful. And I thank you for the emails and the Facebook messages and saying how much you like the show. It really means a lot to me. And once again, for everybody, I've gotten a hold of a few of you. I will get to you and what you want to talk about, because some of the things that you guys want on the show is pretty awesome. So I want to make sure I get that on the show for you. I want to thank our sponsors, Longo Toyota in El Monte. You got to go by and say hi to Mike and Brooke and just check out the dealership, because it's on this huge lot. I can't remember how many acreages it is, but they do more than just sell cars. And on that lot, there's more than just having cars there. Star 7 Financial with Francine Chu. So yes, I'm a little biased. She's going to be in studio here in the next couple of weeks to talk about finances and how to save for your 401k, how to save for your children's education. The Santa Anita Park, things are coming up, some events coming up, and you heard from Pete. The Olympics coming up in 2028, and if you haven't heard that show, you gotta listen to that show. Great information. And the Le Meridien Hotel in Arcadia in Pasadena. All right. How many of you out there like history? Raise your hand. I know sometimes history can be pretty boring, but I was a history minor when in university. I happen to love history, and this is going to be a type of history that you're going to love today, because it's about story. And you know me, I love story. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can already see who's in studio with me. The president of the Arcadia Historical Society, Ed Anderson. Hi, Ed.
Hey, how are you, Christine, and our audience? Hello.
I know. I am so glad that you're here. I do have to say, okay, I'm going to brag a little bit here. Your website. I had the honor and opportunity to build the website, and I still maintain it. I love history. I loved building it.
I hope some out there in our listening audience go to our website at arcadiahistoricalsociety.org.
org.org. Okay, let's get to know you a little bit, Ed. Sure. Were you born here in California or outside of California?
I was born in Santa Cruz, California, up on the Monterey Bay, the original surf city, where skateboards were invented.
I know. And did you live like where you can... I love Santa Cruz because you can be in the forest and drive right down to the beach. Is that where...
Absolutely. Spent a lot of time at both, mostly at the beach, probably.
Yeah, probably. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. And when did you come to the Arcadia area?
I came here with my employment at the Procter & Gamble Company in 1972. And I met my wife, Debbie. We were married for 50 years this year.
All right. Everybody clap. Congratulations. You don't hear that very often.
We moved to Arcadia in 1977. We were told it was a wonderful place to live and raise our family, which we did. And we've been in the same house since August of 1977.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, did your kids, okay, I'm going to ask the obvious questions. They went to Arcadia High School and graduated from there.
Yes, that's right. Both our girls graduated from Arcadia High School. They went on, and they're both in the teaching profession. My daughter is an adjunct professor at Stanford, and we have a 7th grade teacher in Napa, one of my favorite places.
Oh, yeah, one of my favorite places, too.
Of course.
Anything that has to do with wine and vineyards, I am there. All right, let's talk about, as we get into history here, first of all, what is it about the city of Arcadia that you, Ed, like or love the most?
When we moved here, or were planning to move here, I saw signs that said Arcadia, Community of Homes. And it had kind of a wonderful feeling of community, of togetherness, of family atmosphere here. It was really an interesting proposition for us moving in, but really community is people. And I love the people I've met. we've had an incredible transition culturally here in Arcadia since we moved. When we moved in, most of our neighbors look like me. Now, very few look like me. We've had a tremendous influx of Asian people. I think we're one of the hubs for Asian culture in the western United States here in Arcadia. And it's been really a learning experience for me to understand different cultures and come to know this real community feel that we have here in this city. It's very, I don't know if it's unique, but it's very special. It touches you.
I don't think I've ever heard it explained that way, Ed.
Well, it's part of what we do at the Historical Society. That's why I've enjoyed being associated with our organization for so long now.
Now, the Arcadia Historical Society, that is a very unique and awesome organization. I have to say that, just doing the website and learning more about it. How did it all come to fruition, that whole society?
One of the themes that, I'm glad you asked that question. One of the themes that I'm really high on is I've been impressed as I've looked around the local communities in the San Gabriel Valley, how much the women of the community had to do with the culture and the development of the city itself. Women had a different role back in the 1800s, but yet as we got more and more towards the 20th century, women gained their voice as they got the vote and so forth. And Arcadia Historical Society started with the Women's Club of Arcadia, which was originally started around 1912. It was called the Cooperative Arcadians. The women decided that it would be good to start preserving the history of this place, which is so rich, and to start setting aside the artifacts and the oral history and the written history and start to develop a place where we could preserve and educate the future about what was going on in Arcadia in the early 20th century. In 1952, they formed with 101 women, mostly women. They formed the Arcadia Historical Society, and they were incorporated in 1954, at which time they received their 501c3 status as a California not-for-profit corporation.
Right. Now, let's get into the rich history of the city of Arcadia. Now, is it true that Lucky Baldwin is the founder of the city of Arcadia, or he is just someone that is like he's the face or the icon of the city of Arcadia?
The city of Arcadia would not exist without Lucky Baldwin. It would have been something else, some other person, but he purchased 8,700 acres from a man named Harris Newmark in 1875. The center of that property is the Los Angeles County Arboretum to this day. There's only 137 acres left. Excuse me. As he sold off some of the property, but in 1903, he contacted the County of Los Angeles and said he wanted to form a town, a city here in Los Angeles County. And he did somehow find a way to get 300 voters here in the city, some of whom were probably transient, but nonetheless, there was a vote held, and these 300 residents agreed to form a city, and Los Angeles County approved the application for Arcadia to form in 1903.
Wow. Okay, but Lucky Baldwin had a lot orchestrated in the city of Arcadia. And one of the things is the Santa Anita racetrack.
Yes, well, that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Baldwin, by the way, E.J. Lucky Baldwin, there's a wonderful story behind how he got the name Lucky, but that might be for another day.
Okay, yeah, I know. No, but that is an interesting story.
At any rate, yes, he was quite a master manipulator, politician, if you will. So he was our first mayor. And he did have a racetrack, which was founded in 1907. But unfortunately, about a year and a half later, Los Angeles County made it outlawed racing in Southern California. So he had to shut it down.
Oh.
And that racetrack was on the grounds of what's now the Santa Anita Golf Course here. It was his daughter, Anita Baldwin, one of the most extraordinary women in the history of Southern California. She sold land in 1934 to the Los Angeles Turf Club, who later that year, on Christmas Day, opened Santa Anita Racetrack, 1934.
And that was on the Arcadia golf course, right? Back then?
Baldwin's original racetrack was on.
I didn't. You know what? That I did not know.
That's right, and that's where the Ross Balloon School came along in 1918. Prior to that, prior to our racetrack, the Balloon School, it was interesting use of the property. But it was Anita Baldwin who made arrangements for Santa Anita Racetrack.
Then how did the Santa Anita Racetrack become the Santa Anita Park as it is now?
Very interesting piece of that was when World War I broke out in 1918, the Anita Baldwin arranged for the U.S. government to use the land that is now the golf course, and they established Ross Balloon School. Okay. There were about 200 parachutists and balloonists who came to Arcadia, and they set up their operation there. There's some wonderful photos at the Guild Museum in Arcadia of that balloon school.
And you can also see it on the website.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it got repurposed as a military base, and then when the war ended, it became an airfield. And some famous flyers came through here.
I know. You know what? When people ask me, "Hey, where's the airport?" I said, "Well, you can golf on it now."
Yeah.
So, but moving from that land where the golf course was, okay, I'm trying to follow your journey here. Now the Santa Anita Park that's there on Huntington. When did it move there?
Well, in essence, it never moved. They just graded over the Baldwin's track. And then when Anita Baldwin sold in 1934 to the LA Turf Club, they then began. They were fast moving because they only acquired rights to the property in 34, and it was open on Christmas Day the same year. So it was pretty remarkable how quickly they were able to build the facility, which has been expanded since then, of course.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Okay, so back then when Anita Baldwin founded the racetrack, was there roads then? You know, like Huntington wasn't even a road then, right? Because it was just one big land. Okay, I'm trying to get everybody.
By the time the racetrack came along, Huntington was probably there. But Huntington Drive, we're not sure exactly the date, but it probably wasn't until around the turn of the 20th century that it came in. The road that was used from Los Angeles was called County Road, and that is Duarte Road, which is about a quarter mile or so south of Huntington.
Right. God, isn't this interesting? I want to pick your brain, but we got to stay focused on this. So the purpose of the Arcadia Historical Society is to keep that history alive, is it not?
Yes, and we found the best way to do that is to have programs, whether they be educational. We do a lot of speaking in the community through our speakers group, and we talk about mostly about people, because history really comes alive. It's about people. And so we talk about the Anita Baldwins and the Lucky Baldwins, but also some other characters like Parker Lyons, who had the most extraordinary museum here on Huntington Drive, beginning also in 1934. He had over 1 million artifacts, and he ended up selling them to Harrah's in Reno. When he passed away, his son sold it. That was in the late 50s. But this museum was amazing. He had things from Wild Bill Hickok and all the famous historical characters.
Where was the museum?
It's right where the Le Meridian Hotel is now.
Oh my!
And we have a historic marker there to note the spot.
That is, because where the Le Meridian is, that there used to be a famous hotel and not a hotel. Yeah, it was a hotel.
There have been some famous hotels, motels. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Flamingo and others.
And then also wasn't there a bar there?
Yes, the 100 to 1 Club.
Yeah,
the 100 to 1 Club, you'd have to call it a dive. But you had to experience it. And when they demolished that to make room for renovations that ultimately led to the Le Meridian, we were actually able to secure the 100 to 1 sign. I'm not sure what's going to be done with that, but it's in storage. It was quite a place.
I think we should open it up again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, Ed. Let's go into business and open up the bar again and just sell wine and a few beers.
That would be a fun challenge.
Yeah, that would definitely be. Okay, since we have some time, I do want to talk about Lucky Baldwin and his family. Lucky Baldwin has a lot of history behind him, founding the city of Arcadia. And And he's known for other things too. Wasn't he married more than once, or was he married once and just married? I don't know. You tell me, Ed.
Some people think 5 times, but
Yeah.
I'd say 4 times.
Yeah.
His favorite wife was Jenny Dexter
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yeah.
who was the mother of Anita Baldwin, and she unfortunately died young. He married his 4th wife, Lily Bennett. I forget the exact date, but they didn't really live as man and wife. She lived in a very palatial home in San Francisco, and he went back and forth.
I see. Now, if I were to drive up Baldwin and then you go up, going into, I want to say Sierra Madre there, wasn't there a huge mansion that used to be along Foothill in Baldwin?
Not a mansion that I can recollect, but he sold in around 1881. He sold the land that Nathaniel Carter used to develop Sierra Madre, and up on the hill there, he had a mansion called Carter Haya, and that's where Carter lived. Carter was tied in with Baldwin in terms of developing the land that eventually became Monrovia and East Arcadia, and it was an interesting story.
Yeah, well, Lucky Baldwin's, isn't that named after Lucky Baldwin? The pub?
Oh, yes, of course. Sure.
Now, that's located in Sierra Madre and one in Pasadena.
That's correct.
And was there ever one here in Arcadia? I mean, how come it's outside the city and we don't have a Lucky Baldwin here in Arcadia?
Well, that property was once the land on that Lucky Baldwin owned. And when he sold the land to Carter, he kept most of the good water. So Sierra Madre struggled to find the really good drinking water, thanks to Lucky Baldwin. But yes, it was Baldwin land, and I think it's obviously a creative name because Baldwin is kind of such a fascinating character that once you learn about him and the kinds of things he was involved in, and the kind of money he carried around, and how he did business, he's a strikingly interesting figure.
He is. I mean, there's so much I would like to talk to him. If I ever met him, I would have quite a few questions. Is there anybody still living that still is associated to Lucky Baldwin?
Yes. We have someone who belongs to our historical society. Her name is Margot Gibson. She is a great-great-great-granddaughter of Lucky Baldwin, and she's probably the foremost expert on Anita Baldwin. And she sometimes plays the role of Anita Baldwin, which she'll be doing November 14th at our big event
we're going to
here
talk
in
about
Arcadia.
That.
So, yes, and the family is still around, and we keep in touch, and hopefully they have some history that eventually they'll share with us, too.
That is great. Okay, my favorite subject that I love, because I love the Walk of Champions. And the Walk of Champions is all about the horses from the Santa Anita Park.
Yes. There's been, as we rolled into the current century, a lot of people thought, gee, Santa Anita 1934 to now, look at all the wonderful history and the beautiful architecture and the structure that is Santa Anita Park. We've got to preserve this. All the famous race horses who've been on that track, the greatest horses in the world, the best thoroughbreds ever ran on that track. So around 2012, a group began to loosely form, and in 2014, by then they'd had fundraisers and put in these 24 by 24 inch plaques along Huntington Drive and some of the north-south streets, to the point where we now have nearly 70 of these bronze plaques to honor jockeys, trainers, announcers, the people who've made Santa Anita Park and thoroughbred racing so prominent in the West.
All right, my favorite is just right out here. My office is Seabiscuit. I go by there because I saw the movie like 15 million times, and when Pete Zibarro was in here, we talked about, some of Seabiscuit was filmed there at the park, and I love that horse. I love the trainers and that whole story, and I'm so glad it's right out here. It's in downtown, just so you guys know, and you can also see all the markers at the website, Arcadia Historical Society.org. And it's all, these markers are in downtown Arcadia, like down Huntington and down First Avenue. You'll be able to see these markers. And people do. You could see them take pictures near some people will come from the travelers, and they come and they take pictures like they do in Hollywood.
Yes, it's easy to go online and through our website and others, the Arcadia Chamber of Commerce, and get a directory. It's really fun to take that walk.
Yeah, and there's statues too. Lucky Baldwin is right there in front of the Santa Anita Park, in front of, how do I say it? It's on the corner of Huntington, Hawley, and Campus Drive.
That's correct.
That's where the Lucky Baldwin statue is at.
We call it the V. It's right across,
Yeah,
right opposite the main entrance to Santa Anita.
And right in front of, I want to say, the Senior Center and the Arcadia Chamber.
Yeah, that's the Arcadia Community Center, and the Guild Museum of Arcadia
That's right.
Heritage is just east of that in virtually the same parking
I know.
area.
I have to say I jog by there like often. And Anita, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Talk about Anita.
Anita Baldwin.
Yes.
Her statue is in front of the
Le Meridian.
Le
We call
Meridian.
that at Huntington and Huntington.
Huntington and
It is
Huntington.
at Huntington
It's right
and
there.
Huntington, yes.
Yeah, and I did some drone work for the Le Meridian, and I got this really. In fact, I'll show it if you watch on YouTube. I will show both these statues and just the Anita Baldwin one that's right there.
That was a big deal, yeah.
Yeah,
in
that was.
2021, we were the source. We handled all the funds, all the fundraising through collaborative organizations, and that was a wonderful achievement to get that statue up. What a woman!
Yeah, that's, you know what, you do have to come back in, Ed, and we can talk about just Lucky and talk about maybe we can give Anita her own show.
I think it's worth it, but you might want to get Margot.
Yeah, I was just going to say we need to get
That'd be
Margot
good.
in here too to talk about that.
Would it be okay to mention a couple of the key moments in Arcadia history?
Please
I'd like
do.
to top line some of the important things.
No, you go.
I also mentioned I mentioned the Ross Balloon School, and also that area was a military installation of sorts during World War II, which is really an important part of our history. And it's, in a sense, it's one of the darker parts of our history, but
Yeah.
it was put upon us by Franklin Roosevelt, who signed, I believe it was Executive Order 9066. And it said any organization or group of people harmful to the interests of the United States should be incarcerated.
Yes.
Which led to the incarceration, by the way, not only of Japanese people, but many Italians and many German people were also incarcerated. People don't realize that. However, let's talk about the Japanese Assembly Center at Santa Anita. Santa Anita was not what's called an internment camp, like Manzanar and some of the others. It was an assembly center. And though it was a terrible time in our history, I guess if you were going to be incarcerated, this is the only place that you could probably survive. The Japanese people prospered here. They're very resourceful. They had their own newspaper. They had their own sports teams. And not that it was any fun, because it wasn't. But they found a way to make the most out of a terrible situation. And, of course, the U.S. government has apologized for that, and that's a good thing. And we honor what happened then, and we honor those Japanese people, many of whom made great contributions to American society and to our way of life. So it was a difficult time, but we don't sweep that under the rug.
Right.
It happened. We honor that.
You wanted to share another?
Yes. In 1943, Anita Baldwin sold 1,300 acres to Harry Chandler of the Los Angeles Times. And those 1,300 acres encompassed what is now the LA County Arboretum. So it's been reduced by, those 1,300 acres are down to I think 137 acres. But the home ranch is around Baldwin Lake, encompassing the old Hugo Reed adobe, which was just renovated, the Queen Anne Cottage. That's a whole unique story about Anita Baldwin that you might want to cover at some point. But so Chandler, it was going to be developed in the 40s. Somebody had already made plans to lay out housing, just as we have in the Santa Anita Village nearby. But Chandler bought this property, and he conveyed it to the county in 1947, and it became the Los Angeles County Arboretum. So thanks to Chandler, he preserved that property. Otherwise, it would just be an extension of our community of homes. Thank God we have the Los Angeles Arboretum, and one of the finest arboretums in the country.
Beautiful. And the way they keep it up and the upgrades that they have recently done, it's awesome.
We've participated in that, by the way.
Oh, in the upgrades?
The Historical Society gave $25,000 to renovate the paintings in the old Queen Anne Cottage.
Oh,
and
okay.
Also, we just gave them a nice gift to repair the windows on the Santa Anita Depot, which is on Baldwin Avenue. You can see it as you drive by.
Now, Chandler, didn't he build some apartments?
That I'm not aware of.
Well, the Fleta isn't.
Doesn't surprise me one bit.
Oh, okay. I know that the Fleta, the Fleta apartments, the first apartments that were built here in the city of Arcadia, I thought was owned by Chandler.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so let's talk about some of these events. There's a little, I wonder if I should play some music, some mystery
Yeah.
music, and you talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
I mean, I already know who, I can't even say it.
The Arcadia Women's Club, as I've already mentioned, is sort of the genesis of Arcadia Historical Society. They have, by the way, the first historic marker issued by the city of Arcadia. A lot of our history, unfortunately, has gone away for whatever reason, development, et cetera, but they have the first historic marker in the Women's Club building on First Avenue in Arcadia. They've just renovated. It's a beautiful facility. We are hosting in collaboration, or maybe I should say we're in collaboration with them to host the first ever casino and mystery murder winery at the murder mystery at the Baldwin Winery on November 14th. The casino opens at 5:30. We have some professional actors, a number of characters who are suspects, to include Anita Baldwin. And it's going to be a night of fun. We're going to have a live auction with some wonderful things. It's going to be acting out a murder mystery, and there's going to be a lot of intrigue because the murderer will not even know they're the murderer until the very end. So it's going to be there's going to be a wonderful dinner. It's going to be an exquisite evening.
So it's going to be casino, so you can win money or lose money. Dinner.
You're not really going to lose money. You might lose your steak that we give you.
That's funny. So dinner and a mystery play. So there's going to actually be acting going on.
Mystery play, yes. Okay.
So,
and they'll be circulating in the crowd, so you get a chance to meet the suspects.
That is great. I love mystery dinners. I used to go to them often. I have not been to one, so I'm looking forward to going to this one.
You can learn about it at the ArcadiaWomen'sClub.org at their site.
Or you can learn about it on the Arcadia Historical Society.org.
I was going there.
I know. So I love your website, so I'm always going to refer to the website.
Thank you.
So, yeah. I see that you have a book.
Yes.
What is that book?
There are any number of, there are several publications which are worthwhile. This one, I think, for the average person would be great. You can find it almost anywhere at any of the local libraries here in the San Gabriel Valley. It's put out by the Images of America organization, which enlists local people to write their history. It's called Images of America Arcadia, and it's sponsored by Arcadia Historical Society. It's written by a number of prominent people in our society who were a lot of our key people in the 1980s. It's called Images of America Arcadia, and if you just Google Arcadia on anywhere, you'll find several of the books. There's one by Sandy Snyder and Pat McAdam called From Ranch to City, Arcadia Story. That's a really good book. But you'll get more intimate with Lucky Baldwin, Anita Baldwin, and the fascinating characters that predominated in the early days. Arcadia was a rough and tumble town. Mm-hmm. It was called the Los Angeles Times called it the only sportin' town in Southern California. Unfortunately, there were a number of saloons and a few brothels, and it didn't have a very good reputation until the women of Arcadia came along and said, "We're going to clean up your town, Mr. Baldwin," and that's when things started to happen in, I think, a really positive vein for our city.
You do have to come back and talk about that. So much to talk about, and this is a history just on the city of Arcadia.
That's right.
I mean, this is how rich the history is here, and I grew up here. A lot of my years, and then I moved to Walnut, graduated from Walnut High School. Go Mustangs! So, but my dad lived here most of his life in the city of Arcadia. In fact, just right down Santa Anita. So, and I live here in Arcadia. I love Arcadia. I love the richness. I love the culture and I love the community. And I'm so glad that I got to have an opportunity to meet you, Ed. I thank you so much for being here.
It was my pleasure. Enjoyed it.
And everything that we talked about, the events that are coming up are not only on the website, Arcadia Historical Society.org. You can also go to ArcadiaFTY.com. All of that will be on there also. So, because I don't want you to miss out on any of these events, because it is truly very rich in the city that we live in, and there's so much to the city of Arcadia that I hope that in these shows that you're learning about the education, the community, the housing, the history, the Santa Anita racetrack. I just learned so much about just the LA Arboretum, and we haven't even gotten to the shops of Santa Anita. I mean, there's so much here in the city of Arcadia that is just, I'm just so happy that I am living in this city. I would like to thank our sponsors of this show that make it happen. Longo Toyota, Lexus in El Monte, Star 7 Financial with Francine Chu, the Santa Anita Park that we had just talked about, the Le Meridien Hotel in Pasadena and Arcadia that we had just talked about. I thank you so much, and I thank you for being a part of this show. Until next time, be blessed and make it a great day.